I'd like to call this April 7th, 2011 Cookeville City Council meeting to order. Can we get a roll call?
Councilman Anderson,
Present.
Councilman Woodford,
Present.
Mayor Swallows,
Here.
Vice Mayor Epps,
Here.
Councilman Albright, present. All present.
Thank you. Would everyone please stand for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, consider approval of agenda as presented. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
No changes. All right. Do I have a motion for
So
approval?
moved.
Second.
All vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
All right, on to old business. Item number 2. Consider approval of minutes of council meeting held on March 17th, 2011. Do I have a...
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
All right, on to item 3. Consider on second and final reading ordinance 0110303 amending Title 9, Chapter 4 of the Cookeville Municipal Code pertaining to taxi regulations. Sponsor is Major Randy Evans.
Mayor and Council have not received any complaints or inquiries on since the first reading. Just would recommend your approval on second and final reading.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council?
Do we have to put a motion on the floor?
Mm-hmm.
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
Second? All right.
Major Evans, have you had any calls or
None
comments?
whatsoever. No, ma'am.
Okay.
Good.
That's a
I
good
think
thing,
that
probably.
we've done a good job on this and feel confident that we've helped the citizens of Cookeville by having a few more regulations.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Major Evans. All right, on to the consent agenda. Item 4, set a date, May 5th, 2011, for a public hearing on ordinance 0110405, amendments to the zoning code relating to bed and breakfast establishments in the RS zones. And then item 5, consider awarding bids for decorative LED lights and transformers from the electric departments. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion from the council? Any from the audience? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
All right, on to the new business portion of the meeting. Item 6, consider reappointment to the Historic Zoning Commission. Sponsors Mr. James Mills.
Mayor and council members, the term of Greg Stamps for service on the Historic Zoning Commission has expired. Greg fills the architect position on the commission. Members of the commission serve 5-year terms that are appointed by the mayor with confirmation by the city council. Greg's agreed to continue to serve, and the planning department would recommend for his reappointment.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion from the council?
I know I sit on that board also, the Historic Zoning Commission, and Greg's been a very diligent and serious member of that commission, and he does bring a whole different sight to it because most of the rest of the people on there are citizens that live in historic neighborhoods. So Greg's a good addition to that. Appreciate him serving.
We do too.
Anyone else? Any discussion from the audience? All right, seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. All right, on to item 7. Consider awarding the contract for intersection improvements from the Public Works Department. Sponsors Mr. Greg Brown.
Mayor and Council, we recently opened bids on the improvement to 3 intersections. They're West Jackson Street, South Walnut, Old Bridge Road, at Old Sprotter Road and Buffalo Valley Road at West Jackson Street. The low bid by Highways Incorporated was $348,520. That's a little more than we had allotted for those projects, so we talked to Highways and negotiated a price to improve the intersections at the West Jackson, South Walnut, and Old Bridge and Old Sparta Road for $253,011. And that's what I would recommend we approve a contract for that amount.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All right, questions?
I have a question. Just, will the delaying of of that one intersection, is that going to present any problems in doing so, or?
No, there were just three. We're adding turning lane is what we're to do into all of them, and we'll just do that at a later date, just to try to improve the traffic flow. The two that we could afford to do, the Old Bridge Road will be the cheapest one, and then we have had multiple requests for the West Jackson South Walnut intersection. So we thought those were the two we needed to try to do first.
Is the Buffalo Valley, West Jackson, by delaying that, does it present any kind of safety concerns at all? I mean, it says it's just a turn lane, but
It's more of a traffic flow thing, I think, than a safety thing, although they are accidents there. But
Do we have any idea when this would start?
as soon as we sign the contract, they'll be ready to start rather quickly, is what the last time we talked to them.
I know I've gotten several phone calls about the South Walnut area, and quite frankly, I always try to avoid.
Yeah, we've had
Wait,
more calls about that
turning west
intersection than
there.
any of them.
Yeah,
So-
that's, yeah, I'd like to have that one done
Yeah.
quickly.
Any other questions or comments? Anybody in the audience? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. All right, item 8, consider awarding bid for Dry Valley Road Gas Line Project. Sponsor is Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, the gas department recently opened bids to extend a 8-inch gas main along Dry Valley Road. It will give us a complete loop around our system. This system's been designed for several years now, and we finally put the money in the budget to get this done this year. Low bidder was Bush Construction for $266,636, and I'd recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Questions, concerns from the council?
How many, just by putting in this, the gas line, of course, I was just looking at the aerial photo, and it didn't seem like there's a lot of houses out there. The intent of putting that, what's the intent of that gas line being put there?
That line,
To service?
it completes the entire loop around our system, so we can feed gas
that
to the
do?
entire system out of 2 different stations that we have, taps on the East Tennessee line. Right now, if we had trouble with one of those, we couldn't really feed the entire system. So now we can, with opening up different valves, we can feed the entire system out of either one of those stations by putting this in, and we don't have that ability today.
That's good. Okay. Is this going to potentially service? It sounds like it's just preventing
It's just an operational issue so that we'll be able to supply gas should something happen to the Fisk Road station or vice versa, something happen to one out north of Allgood. It's just an operational issue so we can feed the gas to prevent any type of outages based on anything that might happen at those stations.
Any homes, potential homes to be serviced, or potential number of homes that could be serviced, or industry?
Off of this line here, there's we've already supplied gas to the homes on the north end of Dry Valley Road right there at the intersection of Buck Mountain Road. So not really. As you move south, have all that farmland there.
Run up that road all the time. I was just curious because, I mean, I do run up and down that road all the time.
Yeah, and you're
There's
right.
not a lot there,
There's
and
not.
I'm kind of curious, does the city see that as a potential place for lots of homes to be moving into, but your explanation is good. I appreciate, just wanted a heads up. That's all I need.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anything by the audience? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Davidson. All right, item 9, consider awarding bid for rehabilitation and repainting with lead abatement at the Shoney's water storage tank.
Mayor and
sponsor Mr.
council, we
LeBlanc.
had
Yeah.
budgeted refurbishing the Shoney's water tank in our yearly budget. We have requested bids and received 4 bids. Horizon Brother Paint Corporation was the low bidder, $457,700. We'd recommend that low bid. This is a tank. Most of you know it sets up on by Walmart. It's hard to see because it's surrounded by trees. This is the inside of it. You can sort of see the rusting that's going on inside of it, and that's why we're doing the project.
Do we have a motion
So moved.
approval?
Second.
Mr. Kelly, could you explain just a little bit why that does cost so much? I mean, some of the things, you don't have to go into a whole lot of detail, but just, people see that number and they see painting a water tank, they're like, whoa.
Well, they're going to do the inside, outside. The outside's got lead paint in it. It's old, so they'll encapsulate that while they do it. Plus, they're going to go in and basically take everything down to white metal, the whole place, and then you've got to bring it back up in a certain way to get the paint to make sure you don't have it fail, because it's sitting in a chlorine-type environment. So it's just the nature. That's what water tanks cost to repaint.
Well, aren't they also, there are federal regulations. I mean, you have to be approved, I mean, you can't.
Well, I mean, you have
not
to use certain
anybody
type
can-
paints.
Right, not anybody can paint a water tank.
Yeah, I mean, they have to be licensed painting contractors to do
right.
that type.
Yeah, what's the life cycle? Once, does it
20
vary?
20 years or so. Some of this ones went a lot longer than that.
Okay.
And it's just getting to the point it needs to get done. We've got the next one that'll be on the schedule will be the 15th one. The checkerboard went out on 15th Street.
Okay.
That'll be the next one in the budget.
Mr. Mayor, Ronnie, you had budgeted, how much had you budgeted for this originally? Was it three?
Well, we had estimated 500,000 to 600,000.
Okay, so
We
it's-
put 300 in this year's budget, and we were going to put 3 because we were going to split it between this year because the
okay,
painting time
okay.
needed to be during the summer, so we knew it was going to split the budget.
So
So
you-
we had budgeted 300.
So you split this up over a two-year
Two budget
period,
cycles,
okay. I was just
yes.
concerned, I was just wondering if the $300,000 certainly didn't cover that. I was actually just concerned where you're going to pull it from your budget. but
No, the
you've
rest
got
of it will come in the next year, but we'll budget the remainder of it next year. We've already put that in.
I have another question, Mr. Mayor. Just an aesthetics question. I mean, you can't see it very well, but a lot of just kind of a civic pride kind of thing. Ronnie, what was the? Do you have any ballpark ideas or guesstimates what it would cost to put something about Cookeville on there, like our city logo, or something that?
I would think. I don't
Is it
know.
prohibitive or is it?
No,
just,
you can. People, you see them all over.
Oh yeah,
they
I guess
paint
that's
on
why I
peaches
asked the question. I mean, I'm very proud of Cookeville. I love the town I live in, and it kind of like people to.
Yeah, I've looked
see
at
that.
I think Mr. Shipley said somebody had mentioned about, and I looked at that one,
Yeah.
got on the interstate and sort of looked at it. You're just not going to see it on this one because of the trees. If I'm on the interstate, if you're down at Walmart looking at that gap where the power line goes up, you see it. But if you're anywhere else around, you really don't see the side of the tank once these leaves get out. So, I mean, we can, if you want us to, and get prices to do it. I'm just not sure it's the best.
Wouldn't 15th
location.
Street be the best
Well,
one?
15th, I guess when we get ready to do 15th, my idea would be to take some prices on maybe, because it's over by the high school, getting a Cavalier logo put on
Right.
the football side with some lighting on it. And then I think Rick, I was telling him one day about it, and he said, well, you might put a TTU something on the other side that sort of faces Tech and have a light. That would probably be the place to do something like that.
The reason I bring it up is because I mean, like all my council members here, like everybody in the audience, we're just really proud to be Cookvillians, and I don't consider this branding, but it's something we can do to kind of let people know that, here it is, Cookeville, home of TTU, home of Cookeville High School, home of Cookvillians. And I'd kind of like to see, just my own personal opinion, like to see that maybe just incorporate when we do things like this, just see what it would cost and what let people know.
We
about
could
that.
get some cost on this. I think if you were going to put it on this
Oh, you have
tank, you'd put it probably right there where you could see it from the Walmart parking lot. It's about the only place you're going to see it from.
Boy, get a lot of people see it, that Walmart parking lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Watch out for falling prices.
Do what?
The home of falling prices. Well, and I'm not a, advocate just tearing down trees for the sake of tearing down trees, but,
Well, we don't own the property.
oh, there you go. Well,
It-
never mind.
The trees are there to stay, right?
It all sits on county property, and we're just sort of have a tank sitting on their property.
Okay.
Don't own the property around it, so we couldn't clear out a lot for
If you
visual.
could just, Ronnie, if you could just kind of look into it a little bit and just see,
We will.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, any other discussion? Anything from the audience? All right, seeing none, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. All right, item 10, consider awarding bids for vehicles, customer service, public works, and water quality control departments. Sponsors, Mr. Ronnie Kelly.
I've got this one. We took bids, and we had talked to Public Works and some other departments, see if they were going to do bids. We were getting ready to bid them, and they had some bids, so we just collectively put them in one package and bid them out, and I've got them up there. So if you've got some questions, I may not be able to answer them. Somebody else can answer for their department. But we took these bids, and we'd recommend the low bidder, and that met the specs, and you can see those are Alexander Automotive and Ed Rogers Valley Ford.
All right, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion from the council.
I have a question,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor. Ronnie, how come, we only got really 2 bids. I'd have liked to see more bids just to see maybe a little bit more competitive price. Any reason why? Did they just couldn't meet specs, or was it?
No, there's just not anything unusual. We have a lot of times, what we figured out, some dealers are able to get concessions from the factories, and some of them can't. And that's why we think some bidders or some dealers haven't bid.
Since I used to do this, it usually takes somebody at that particular dealership to take over and look for the concessions from the factory to bid it out. It just takes time, and apparently sometimes they don't. Some of these dealers maybe don't have somebody with the manpower, the time, or the interest to do it. They're given the opportunity. Personally, I used to look forward to these, and just let the numbers speak for themselves. But it usually takes somebody from each individual dealership to take control and do it.
I am just a little disappointed. These are all pretty much local companies, and I would love to see them.
All we can do as a city is give these businesses opportunity. If they don't take it, it's not our fault that they don't.
We contact them and tell them and let them know, because we want lots of competition, because that
Sure.
usually helps drive down the prices.
Absolutely. I just was curious, so I just kind of disappointed that they weren't able to do that, but I also understand the economy is still tough. And
Yeah, we were
so
surprised
it's okay.
Carlin didn't. Carlin usually
I was gonna
bids,
say,
but
they usually bid.
a lot of times if they know they can't get the concession from the factory, they're just wasting their time. So sometimes that's just
Okay.
won't bid.
I'm sure a lot of times, they may have a lot going on right now, too. Not-
Yeah, that
just not
could
have
be
time.
it, too.
Okay. Any more discussion? Any questions from the audience? All right, seeing none, I'll vote.
Thank you.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Item 11, consider awarding bids for trees for the Dogwood Park. Leisure Services Department sponsor, Mr. Rick Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. If pleases the council, I'd like to present the bids here, and then if you don't mind, give you just a little bit of an update and status report on the development at Dogwood Park, if that would be okay. We received bids for trees for Dogwood Park, and we received got bids from 7 different bidders, and they're a total on the plan of 318 trees. Of these deciduous trees, evergreen trees, and flowering trees. That doesn't include all the other plantings that will happen and are on the plan there. But there are a total of 318 trees. We may or may not plant all of those. We will begin staking those next week to determine exactly how many and the exact location of where they go. But the plan does call for that many. So we bid all the deciduous, evergreen, and flowering trees. We received 7 bids. We're recommending Turf Masters Landscape Management as being the low bidder, and would recommend your approval. and I'd be happy to answer any questions, and then if it's okay, I'll give you a little bit of update, or I can go ahead with that if you prefer.
Let's go ahead and get a motion on the floor. You want to?
Motion.
Let's do that.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion now? And let Mr. Woods.
Just one question. Do some nurseries, whenever you go out and you buy trees or shrubs or whatever, they will give you, if something happens to them during the first year, they will replace them at no charge. Do you have anything like this?
We have in the bid spec a 1-year guarantee on the trees.
That's good.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Any other discussion? Mr. Woods, if you want to update us anytime.
Okay, great. And thank you, Gail, for making copies. We were going to try to get this up there electronically, but one of the things that we're really excited about and ready to go to press with, we've been a partner, Cityscape has been a partner on this downtown Dogwood Park project from the very beginning for many years now, and we're working closely with Cityscape to develop this opportunity for the public to participate in the development of Dogwood Park, and participate in various ways by lighting the way, by sponsoring a lamp post, by providing a seat. That would be a sponsorship of our benches that will be going in, and to help Dogwood Park grow, and that is their opportunity to sponsor one of these trees that we are approving here tonight and will be planting very soon. Those are opportunities for the public to remember loved ones and to honor loved ones and family members, and that would be there in the park for them to enjoy and to see, and their opportunity to participate in this development, like they have so many times in so many ways in Dogwood Park over the years. Dogwood Park really has been developed largely with community support, and we're very proud of that, and we want to continue that. And through Cityscape's efforts and in conjunction with Cityscape, we are ready to go to press on these and offer this to the community. So that gives you a little bit of information about what you were just handed. I also wanted to get you that so you could see and ask me any questions that you might have about the specific location of the trees, because they're all drawn on there. I don't count and see if there are actually 318, but anyway, the trees that you see are basically the trees that you see on the piece of paper that you have there in front of you. Restroom concession facility is complete. It looks great. We're very proud of it. We got to use it last weekend for our Dogapalooza event. We have several other activities that are planned at Dogwood Park, and activities continue to happen there in spite of the construction that goes on. So the Dogwood Performance Pavilion we're still using actively in that area of the park, and the concession and restroom facility looks very, very nice. Mark is here. He's the actual one who designed that particular facility. And we're very proud of that. It looks great, and it's going to serve us well for years to come. The walkways are nearing completion. We're almost there. We have just a little ways to go, and I'm saying 2 weeks of good weather and we'll be there. That's my best estimate with the walkways completion. Good weather is key. Irrigation contractor, we can turn him loose as soon as we finish those walkways and have the final grade done on all the swales and everything to get the water out of the way. We can turn the irrigation contractor loose. I've been in contact with him, and he's ready to go, and we can get that done as soon as we can complete those walkways. The trees, again, as I mentioned earlier, we will begin staking the exact location of those trees next week, and hopefully we'll be digging those at the nursery right away and get those in. Our goal is to get those in by mid-May. To get those actually in the ground by mid-May. The irrigation will go along with that and will help us tremendously in that. We still have fencing to consider and to do. Once we get the irrigation down, we will be able to put sod down, so we will have some instant grass. We'll be able to do some additional landscaping at that time. We'll be able to purchase and place benches and trash receptacles. We'll be doing signage along with that. And once that's done, will be complete with this phase of development. So we're looking at this summer. I'm not going to go out on a
Couple
limb
weeks.
and say a specific date. This summer.
Couple weeks.
He said 2 weeks, didn't he? I thought he said 2 weeks.
This summer. It's not summer yet. But we're really excited about where we are and about the opportunity to get this phase of development done. It's going to be great. Everybody that I hear comment, and the people that I talk to say, it looks great. And I look at it and say, well, it will look great. It's not there yet, but it's going to look really terrific, and it's going to be a great asset to this community, and we're really, really excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great asset and an addition to the city. And I want to salute you and your department this past weekend on the Dogapalooza.
Oh, yeah.
That was well attended, and it's just a good event to see the many people using that facility over there. It was
Thank you.
outstanding. Good work. Good job.
Thank you.
Well, it was great to see the concession stand open and the bathrooms open. It was just wonderful. It looked nice. Big crowd. Do you know how many people came to Dogapalooza?
I don't have the exact count, no. But and it's hard because we did charge a minimal nominal admission fee
Right.
for adults, but then children got in free, and so it's really hard to know those numbers. But we're estimating around 1,000 people
Well,
and at least 57 dogs.
yeah, it was great. And I understand that Larry Epps is now going to go on the circuit as a dog judge
Yeah.
because he did such a good job last Saturday.
You'll be
Thank
the
you very
designated-
much for you and Councilman Anderson for judging, and for Councilman Woodford for being there, and all of you for your support there.
Certainly it was a pleasant time, wasn't it, Larry?
It was great.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great.
And I personally think that Dogwood Park is my own backyard, so I've been walking it, and I'll be glad when there's no longer mud for my dog to get into.
Me
So.
too.
So I guess I have a question on some of these. If you want to donate a tree or a seed or anything, we can start that now. I mean, they could call to try to set that up now, or
Yes, we'll make that happen.
okay.
When
I
will,
don't want to misspeak here. I mean, is
Yeah,
that okay?
If they're
You
wanting
you
to
ready?
give- they're wanting to
I'll
give-
take your check right now.
If they're wanting to give their money, he's not going to turn it down.
yeah,
That's
you're
right.
not going to say no to a check.
And this just may be my optimism. I hope this is correct, but I mean, is there a potential for us to run out of things for people to sponsor? Because I feel like there's going to be an overwhelming support for this that's why I made sure you're ready, because I feel like once you say yes, let's go. I mean, I hope I'm right. I think the phone will be ringing. I mean, I know, we'd love to sponsor one, and I feel
Great.
like a lot of people would, and I could see that happening.
It'd be a nice problem to have.
It would be, but
I don't know whether there will be, certainly there is an opportunity for us to run out. There's minimal space over there, and
I'm trying to
we
create
could
demand here.
conceivably run out of space and run out of benches and places to put benches and et cetera, and lamp posts and all of that. And I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We do have other opportunities for other sponsorships that are not necessarily included in this promotional piece. For example, the arbor structure that will be erected in another phase of development, that could be a piece that could be sponsored by a company or individuals. We will look for other opportunities to work with folks who have specific interests.
you're supposed to say there's a good chance we'll run out, so people will start calling right now.
Oh,
You better
I
get
set
your
you up
money
for that, and you didn't hit it out of the park.
They'll
Better
say
get
that
your money in
the
fast.
operators are standing by.
That's any other comments? All right. Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. All right, this is the portion of the meeting where we open the floor to any citizens and/or delegations that want to get up and speak, say anything, address any issues they may have, or just say what a great job all the department heads are doing. If anybody would like to speak, they can now. All I'll ask you to do is keep it to 3 minutes and state your name and come up to the podium.
Clay Robertson, Putnam County Library, and I'd like to invite you to come to the library next week. The Pacesetters of Putnam County and White County are going to be presenting Tiddalik, an Australian Aboriginal folk tale, at 10 o'clock in the morning in the lower meeting room, Monday through Thursday, and they're hoping that some of the schools will be bringing kids to the program. And we're also looking forward to our Military Family Day next month at the library, where we've partnered with the Red Cross. And so we'll be having our own little thing for the families who have men and women serving in the armed forces. So, and having been at Dogapalooza, it was quite a day. We had a booth there to promote the summer reading program and the Imagination Library. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Clay.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I have several of my students in the audience tonight. They're here to gain a little extra credit, and of course none of these really need extra credit, but I'm glad to see them. I always offer extra credit to my students when we've done a unit on government, and they came tonight to do that, and I'm proud to see them. And remind me tomorrow when I have my grade book to make sure that you get your extra credit, even though I've got your name here. And one last comment about Dogapalooza. It was wonderful. It was a great day. It was beautiful, and tons of people there, tons of dogs, and I liked how that we set up the contest, so to speak, that it was children presenting their animals. And honestly, I think we could have given prizes to the children and to the dogs. It was hard to determine what was the cutest thing about it. So appreciate that. Should I make my kids stand up? Mm-hmm. Yeah, stand up.
Stand up.
If you want your extra credit, stand up. Oh. There they go. Yay!
All right. Thank you for coming. Anyone else? It's supposed to be a beautiful weekend. Get out and enjoy it. This meeting is adjourned.